from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Foggy conditions this morning and then some big changes next week. What's the latest with that chance for precipitation? We've got an update coming up.
And in news this morning, a girl critically injured in a crash at a preschool in Northwest Bexar County has died. What her father is saying this morning, just ahead.
Road rage on I-35. The car police are searching for this morning after a driver was shot.
All right, good morning to everyone out there. It is Friday, January 3rd, so obviously a very busy news day already, but things are going to get busy also in the weather department as we get set for the weekend.
Got the cold temperatures that are coming in, and I live out on the far west side, so as Justin mentioned, that fog.
How was your drive coming in? Was it a little tricky?
Yeah, no, it's Justin. So Justin knows what I do. Anytime I'm driving and I can't see, I just fog. I hold my breath for some reason. I don't know why, but fortunately I didn't have to hold it as much today, Justin, but it was there.
That's good. We don't want any injury. Yes, the fog is starting to set in. It's getting a little thick in spots, especially up towards Bernie. If you go up along I-10, towards Seguin and New Braunfels, Converse, seeing some fog build in there as well. And I think across the city, we may see the fog get a little bit thicker over the next few hours. That could create some issues on the roadways. So we're going to keep an eye on that. The forecast for today calls for patchy fog, maybe some drizzle too, early on, and then 56 by 10 o'clock, 62 by 1 o'clock. Like yesterday, those clouds will be stubborn, but I do think eventually we'll get some sun this afternoon, getting us up to around 67 or so. And now to next week, which is what a lot of people are talking about. We are expecting a cold, windy Monday. Go ahead and plan for that now. Big jackets, you'll want them ready. Wind chill values will be in the 20s. I think Wednesday or Monday morning, I should say. Plan for a light freeze, especially Tuesday morning. And then damp weather is looking more and more likely late in the week. I think the big question is going to be, in what form do we see that precipitation? Is it just a cold rain, which is possible, or do we see a wintry mix? And I think there's still a lot of questions there. We're going to do a deep dive into that forecast for you for next week, coming up in just a couple minutes. But with that fog out there, we got to check in on the traffic and see how things are looking. What's the latest, guys?
At this time, according to TxDOT, things are peaceful. So again, as he mentioned, with the fog, if you see any kind of patch, make sure you give yourself some extra time. Take your time as you're driving, because you never know what could be popping up in front of you as you're on your commute. We are seeing some type of stalled vehicle, though, right now taking place at Woodstone and I-10. This is in the eastbound lane. They have a main lane blocked at this time. So again, if that is a part of your commute, give yourself some extra time again. Hopefully we can stay crash free on this Friday, RJ.
That's right. So visibility in some areas here out by Bernie, southwest side by Benton City Road and I-35. A little bit tough there for some of our drivers who take a look at 37 at Houston, and you do see that fog across several parts of our area. Let's check in with Alex Gomez. He is on the streets for us on this Friday morning, checking out things for himself out there in Drive Cam. Alex, how are things looking for you, my man?
RJ, good morning and happy Friday. Well, you can definitely see the fog over here on the far northwest side. This is going to be I-10 westbound. I just passed the I-10-410 crossroads interchange. Now, it's not completely horrible. It's still drivable, so I'm going to keep my eyes on it, but just be extra alert as you head out this morning. And try not to hold your breath. Try to breathe this morning when you're driving out here, RJ.
All right, thank you very much for that update, Alex. We will check back in with him here in just a bit. Our top story this half hour, a road rage episode is believed to be responsible for sending a man to the hospital. And this morning, officers are looking for the suspect, who they say was driving a purple Mazda. This happened just before 7 o'clock last night on I-35 near Rittiman Road on the northeast side. That's where San Antonio police say that the driver of a vehicle was having a hard time getting around another vehicle. Police then say that one driver started shooting at the other driver, hitting him twice in the legs before speeding off. Now, that victim is expected to be okay.
People think that the case been closed, but it's not. It's gonna be a long story for us.
Unfortunately, we have a very sad update to report this morning. 1-year-old Makaya Amrani has passed away. That was her dad that you just heard from during a conversation last week. Makaya was hurt in an accidental crash at the Excel Montessori School near Bernie on December 19th. And since then, she fought for her life. The little girl spent her final days surrounded by family in the hospital. Now, Bexar County deputies say that crash happened after a woman had a medical episode while driving in a parking lot of that school. Unfortunately, 22-year-old teacher Alexia Rosales died that day as well as other kids being injured.
Yeah, sad story there. Well, we're taking you live now to Bourbon Street in New Orleans. So it reopened yesterday after that horrific attack on the morning of New Year's Day. And this morning now, there's a new warning from the FBI and Department of Homeland Security about the potential for copycats who might try to mimic that attack in New Orleans.
This comes after new images were released of the New Orleans terrorist suspect and evidence recovered by investigators.
They say that they discovered bomb-making materials linked to the New Year's Day attack from the Houston residence belonging to that dead suspect. Our Devin Karp is with us in the studio here, keeping an eye on this morning. Good Friday morning, Devin.
RJ Jaffney, so far the FBI says that he acted alone and was definitively inspired by ISIS. Talking about this man right here, Shamsuddin Jabbar. He's the man responsible for driving a pickup truck into a crowd on Bourbon Street during New Year's Eve celebrations in New Orleans. At least 14 people killed and many more injured. He also made explosive devices found in the coolers in the French Quarter. Some of the bomb-making materials were found in his Texas trailer.
This was an act of terrorism. He posted several videos to an online platform proclaiming his support for ISIS. Additionally, he stated he had joined ISIS before this summer.
Blow my mind. I was shocked, like somebody sneezed the carpet under my Suru. I was just like too shocked, unbelievable shocked.
That's one of the neighbors from video taken yesterday, obtained by our sister station in Houston, KPRC. You can start to see here some of the trailer from the suspect right there. This is all part of the massive investigation. In the aftermath of the attack, the FBI and Harris County Sheriff's Office has determined that there's no threat to anyone living near the trailer. One of the suspect's neighbors was shocked about hearing from the attack and the attacker. Authorities say the suspect is from Texas and also served in the U.S. Army. Now, that suspect rented a truck on December 30th and then drove from Houston to New Orleans on New Year's Eve. We also know he posted several videos online proclaiming his support for ISIS just hours before the attack. He was shot and killed by police moments after crashing that truck, and in the wreckage, investigators found an ISIS flag that was used to kill the people on Bourbon Street. RJ and Jaffney.
Thank you very much for that update, Devin. Well, this morning, investigators say that Army Master Sergeant Matthew Livelsberger, the man inside a Tesla Cybertruck packed with fireworks and ammunition that exploded outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, shot himself just before detonation. Officials say that one person was killed and several are recovering from their injuries. Authorities say that they're still trying to work to determine a motive in this explosion, but still believe that it was intentional.
Today, the 119th Congress is set to convene in Washington, D.C. Republicans are in control of the House and Senate for the first time since 2019. First official business for the day to get that election House Speaker, which is expected to begin after 11 a.m. Central Time. Current House Speaker Mike Johnson might have to fight to retain his position. He will need 218 votes to win the Speaker's election. And that means that Johnson can't lose more than one GOP vote if every lawmaker in the House shows up and votes. Ceremonial swearings in for the Senate will also begin at noon.
All right, taking a look at live cam coming up on 5:09.
Ooh,
and
look at that.
We got some fog in there, y'all. Pretty thick blanket there of fog across the city of San Antonio. 54 degrees outside right now.
All right, so where the positive comes the negatives. Here we go. Fireworks. Big deal for people in San Antonio, but again, not obeying the rules can be costly, something that we've been talking about ever since the new year started. Why fireworks are being blamed for destroying families' homes.
5:12 on your Friday morning. As we know here in Bexar County and San Antonio, obviously thousands of people ringing the new year with fireworks to celebrate. But if you're not doing that safe, that can also cause some pretty big problems. And this morning, two families are starting their new year picking up the pieces after a fire at their home was destroyed.
Yeah, that's right. We got John Paul Barajas reporting on this. The displaced families blame fireworks for what happened.
Fireworks Fireworks lighting up the sky as the clock hits midnight on New Year's Eve is a tradition.
That's the engine just blew.
Unfortunately, fires igniting as a result is all too common.
My son and I were just across the street watching it go up.
What is that moment like? Officers pull you back and you just have to sit there and watch your home on fire.
Yeah, it's a helpless kind of a feeling because you want to do something, but you can't.
Rudy Garza and his neighbor, who didn't want to be shown, are now both starting the new year having to start over after they say fireworks sparked flames that destroyed their homes off of West Harlan and Leonard Street on the southwest side.
What was that moment like for you?
You know, you lived your whole childhood here, and then that goes on. Just see everything going down.
San Antonio does not allow fireworks within city limits, but it's a rule that's rarely followed as neighborhoods' personal fireworks shows rivaled out of the city's sanctioned display at the Tower of Americas.
We've done that ourselves. Nothing happened.
Makes you think
twice. When you finally lose something, that's when you realize what can happen.
If it's illegal, it's got to be illegal, you know? So it's just, I think differently now, because you never think it's going to happen to you.
The San Antonio Fire Department did not have firework-related incident stats available from December 28th to January 1st. However, during the same time period, the Bexar County Fire Marshal says they received nearly 2,000 emergency calls and had more than 32 firework-related fires, which resulted in $100,000 in property damage.
And then you see it go up in flames, you know, 20 years of working to fix it up.
And neither neighbor currently have home insurance. Now both are trying to raise money while staying with friends and family to get back on their feet.
All this is replaceable. The life of my son and myself, it's not replaceable.
John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
All right, now let's get down to our traffic. See how we're looking right now. Of course, US 281 and the Quarry, you're looking pretty decent. Again, that fog is still prevalent out there. You see that shot right there, barely see the lights. It looks like some type of dance floor almost with the lights shining through. So again, if you are driving, you driving through these patches of fog, you need to give yourself some extra time and be careful. Again, there is that stalled vehicle still located right there on Woodstone and I-10 in the eastbound lane. They got a main lane blocked right there. So again, if they got hopefully if that person has their lights flashing, but again, keep yourself some extra time if you are driving.
Yeah, good point. Make sure to get off to the side of the road and get those emergency lights on. Let's check in with Alex Gomez on the roads for us. Last check, he was on the northwest side, checking out the fog out there. Here's a look at drive cam. Alex, how are things looking?
Good morning, RJ. I am on the far west side now. This is going to be 1604 westbound near Bandera Road, and it's really just that fog out here. The visibility isn't the greatest, and it's really patchy. Sometimes you get a big patch of dense fog that flies through, and it's with you for at least a good couple of 100 feet, and then it kind of clears up. So be extra alert, be on your toes if you have to head out this morning. Other than that, the traffic volume is still going to be pretty low, which is good with these driving conditions because at times, as you can see right here, it can get pretty dense, RJ.
Yeah, it can be a little bit tricky driving out there, so make sure that everyone, including Alex, stays safe out there.
I will say that when I pulled out, I was just like, I got this. And then I got to hit that one big thick patch. Music came down. I was just like, let me calm down. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it's a scary situation. Just got to take your time.
It can't be. And that was a great explanation by Alex. How this patchy fog, and a couple 100 feet, and then you're out of it. You go in it. And it's just that's how this fog works. We're going to see a lot of that this morning. Our Just Ask Justin question. Speaking of area towns who are probably seeing some fog this morning, what is the second largest incorporated city in Bexar County?
Oh boy.
Now there's a couple stipulations here. It must have a mayor, so it must be incorporated and must be completely in Bexar County. So your choices are Helotes, Hollywood Park, Von Army, or Converse.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
How'd you even come up with this?
I know, right?
This is a great question.
My brain works in weird ways. But,
it's a great question.
You can vote, ksat.com/poll or scan the QR code. Let me know what you think. We have a lot of great towns in Bexar County, other than San Antonio. So I thought we'd give them a little bit of a shout out and let us know what you think. That is the question this morning. But all of those sites you just saw there are seeing a little bit of fog this morning. Converse down to about a mile, Seguin down to 2 miles, New Braunfels down to a mile, Bernie close to 0, Port SA at 2 miles. So there is that fog building in. Alex showed you that. Just be extra careful this morning. I think it lasts for a few hours and then we'll get just cloudy skies as we head into the mid-morning hours and midday hours. 54 degrees at the airport, 58 in New Braunfels, 57 Converse, 52 Bernie. Again, like the last couple mornings, cool but not cold. And as we head towards midday, 60 degrees. This afternoon, 67. Clouds are going to be stubborn today, but I do think eventually they'll break up some. We'll get a few peaks of sun. We didn't see much yesterday. I think maybe a little bit more this afternoon, but still these clouds can be tricky this time of year. So we're going to call it mostly cloudy much of the day. That'll be the case tomorrow too. Fog and drizzle early, 70 on your Saturday, and then Sunday, here comes our front. So we get some clearing midday. It turns actually quite warm, 76, and then the front comes through by the evening hours on Sunday. It really cools us down in a big way. And I want to make sure everyone's prepared for Monday morning. Okay, don't get caught off guard. School, work, it's all back in session, right? So it's going to be windy, it's going to be cold. Monday morning at 7 a.m. we're calling for 36, but wind chill values will be in the 20s. So dig out the big coat, you will want it. 50 Monday afternoon with clear skies. We rebound, but it's still going to be kind of a blustery day. So again, be prepared on Monday. Here's what we're tracking for next week. Cold, windy Monday, as we just said. Light freezes, planning for that, especially Tuesday morning. I feel pretty confident that we're going to dip below freezing, at least for a few hours. It could be a light freeze, but freeze nonetheless. And then also plan for some damp weather Wednesday through Friday. I think this risk is increasing, that we're going to see some sort of precipitation. Now, the big question here is what form will it be in? And I think we could see a cold rain. We could see a few flakes mix in. There's going to be a lot of factors that play in here, and it's just it's still too early to tell. Sunday, here comes a front, colder air comes in, and then as we get into Tuesday, still pretty quiet, but we've got a low developing out west, and it's this low that's going to kick up the lift. And notice that this particular model has it as rain on Thursday with a few maybe areas where it can mix in. And then as we get into Friday morning, that line's going to be a razor thin margin on, how cold it gets, if it can get cold enough to see a little wintry weather, or if we just stay all rain. Either way, we'll have to monitor this very closely, and we certainly will. And I do think rain chances or precipitation chances are going up for Thursday and Friday. So this is what we'll be watching. In the meantime, as we said, warm Saturday, Sunday, and then next week. Most of next week's going to be spent with some pretty chilly weather. You see the low there Tuesday morning, 30, and then close to freezing Wednesday and Thursday morning.
Man, I know we've been talking about, we've been warning it, but now that it's here, I'm just like, oh, yeah, see, I knew we were about to get lit.
Right in time for school to start back up in our districts. I heard that some are starting later on in the week, so something to keep in mind. Not everyone's starting on Monday.
That's true. Either way, again, it's that annoyance of waking up early in the morning and it's just blistering outside. So make sure you guys be prepared. 5:20 right now, we're looking at 54 degrees outside.
A federal court strikes down net neutrality. We're going to tell you what this could mean for your internet speeds and streaming services.
Plus, why former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney and Democratic Congressman Benny Thompson were among those to receive the Presidential Citizens Medal. Welcome back. It is 5:23. We got a federal appeals court strikes down a major net neutrality case. Net neutrality is a term that forbids internet providers from giving preferential bandwidth to certain providers. Without it, broadband internet providers can purposely slow down content that they may view as competition. Now, the Federal Communications Commission has been fighting to regulate broadband providers as utilities. However, a 3-judge panel on the U.S. Court of Appeals ruled the FCC does not have such authority.
Yeah, people are like, don't be messing with my streaming out there.
Right.
All right, former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney is among those awarded the Presidential Citizens Medal by President Joe Biden. A total of 20 people were honored with the award during the event last night at the White House. It's the nation's second highest civilian award behind the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Another honoree included Democratic Congressman Benny Thompson. Cheney and Thompson both led the House committee that investigated the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol.
We're looking at 5:24 right now, 54 degrees outside.
All right, Spurs are back in action tonight, kicking off 2025 against the Denver Nuggets. But we're going to tell you why one green-haired Spur, not talking about the Grinch, will not be on the court tonight. Welcome back. The Spurs tipping off 2025 in Denver tonight, but no Jeremy Sohan. You see him right there, who's out because of lower back tightness. So Sohan hurt himself during the Spurs' New Year's Eve win against the LA Clippers. He played only 15 minutes. That meant rookie Stephon Castle took his place in the second half and scored 15 points. My guess is Castle will get the start tonight for the Spurs.
It really doesn't matter when you come in. I mean, if I didn't start the second half, I feel like I would have came in ready. But my mindset was really just, focus on our, defensive game plan on Harden, knowing I had to take that assignment from Jeremy when he went out.
All right, here we go. Tip off tonight from the Mile High City is 8 o'clock. The Spurs are currently 17 and 16 and 10th place in the West. That is good enough right now for the last play-in spot.
And 2025 shaping up to be a big year at the Bexar County Courthouse. We'll check out the high-profile cases. That's coming up ahead at 6. Good morning, guys, and happy Friday. This is our first Friday in January.
It is,
Look at that,
I like
2025.
Yes, yeah.
Hey, we are a bit, I guess we're getting into the colder temperatures right now, so it's starting to feel like January, right?
A little bit.
A little bit?
A little bit. We really have not had winter, honestly. We've had a couple of cold mornings, but nothing that's been, what we're kind of accustomed to in winter. That's going to change next week. We are going to get some colder weather. Finally, if that's something you're excited about. Visibility, though, is top of mind this morning because we are seeing a drop in many spots, and it's been a problem in places like Bernie, Converse, New Braunfels, Seguin, all places where visibility is dropping. We're seeing it in Devine. And it's going to be patchy around Bexar County. Any place here around San Antonio can see fog this morning, and it could impact your morning commute if you are headed to work this morning. Look at this shot. This is, of course, up high, so it looks a little bit worse than it is, but fog definitely building in. 55 degrees at the airport, 58 in Braunfels, 57 Converse, 52 Bernie, 57 at Stinson. So cool, but not cold this morning. And we're still looking at a north breeze. Today, it will take until mid-morning for the fog to go away, but clouds may hold for a while longer. A lot like yesterday, clouds were stubborn. High temperatures as a result around 67 this afternoon. So again, not bad, but what we're tracking next week, cold, windy Monday. We all got to prep for that. Of course, it's back to work, back to school for some. Light freezes possible next week, I think, especially Tuesday morning. And damp weather is looking more and more likely. We think it's going to be wet late next week, but the question is, will we see a wintry mix? And there's still a lot of questions there. And it's going to take probably a few more days before we can speak with great certainty. But we're going to dig more into that forecast and take a look at the 7-day forecast for you, too, coming up in just a couple minutes. Guys?
All right, out on the roadways, again, looking peaceful. We are in great condition driving-wise, even though, again, that fog is a thing that you will see if you hit the roadways in some area. Some places very, very patchy, some places clear. So whatever that place may be for you, just take it easy and let's keep it crash-free on this Friday.
That's right. Taking a look there, 410 Fredericksburg. Seeing the fog again pop up in some areas, specifically southwest side, Bernie area there as well. Want to give you a quick look at our drive times, inbound times looking pretty good for the most part right now. Speaking of Bernie, that's going to take you 24 minutes coming in from the far northwest side. If you're going outbound, 26 minutes out to Lavernia, 20 to Castroville. Let's check in with Alex Gomez right now in Drive Cam for us on a Friday morning. Alex, dealing with some of the fog out there. How are things looking?
RJ, good morning. Well, right now it's not so bad. Thankfully, even with these bad driving conditions, we don't have any major incidents that's slowing us down on the highway. So I'm on I-10 westbound right now. I'm right next to the rim. I'm going to head up to Bernie right now. I heard Justin say that the visibility distance in Bernie is down to about 0. So I'm going to go check that out. I'll let you know what I find, RJ.
All right. Thank you very much for staying on top of that, Alex. Jeff.
All right, it is 5:34 right now. This morning, we got a 17-year-old is out of jail facing felony charges for animal cruelty. I do want to warn you, though, because some of the details in this case, very, very disturbing. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office arrested Michael George. They said that he dragged a leashed dog behind his motorcycle, then allegedly shot and killed the innocent dog. Investigators say the witnesses showed them the video of what happened. He's now waiting to be indicted.
All right, some of our top stories this morning. The Hondo Police Department needs your help to identify the persons of interest who may be connected to a New Year's Day fire. First responders in Medina County, you see the video right there, were dispatched to the fire that engulfed an old wood frame barn just after 10 o'clock Wednesday in the 1400 block of 18th Street in Hondo. So no injuries were reported in this fire. Hondo police have now shared a video of 3 people, though. You see some of the video running from that fire. Authorities say that they are considered persons of interest. Right now, it's unclear if Hondo police are investigating the fire as an arson case or if the individuals could face any sort of arson-related charges. Anyone with information on the individuals in the video is asked to contact Hondo Police or the Medina County Fire Marshal's office.
Police in Southern California say that 2 people are dead and 18 others are hurt after a small plane crashed into an industrial building, and this happened Thursday afternoon. Police say that the injuries range from minor to severe. The Federal Aviation Administration identified the plane as a single-engine aircraft and said it crashed after taking off from the Fullerton Airport. The statement from Fullerton City Council called the plane, quote, an experimental aircraft.
Well, this morning, the music and entertainment world is mourning the loss of singer Wayne Osmond, who died at the age of 73. He was best known as a member of the music group The Osmonds, which also featured younger brother Donny Osmond. No cause of death has been provided so far officially for Wayne Osmond, but his brother Merrill wrote on Facebook that he had suffered a massive stroke before he died. The Osmonds were at the forefront of the early pop and rock movement in the music industry.
It is now 5:36 right now. We're looking at 55 degrees outside, and we can't see anything from this angle. But hey, again, be careful out there as you run into some fog here and there on your roadways.
Absolutely. While small businesses are struggling, but one San Antonio lemonade shop is starting the new year with fresh hope. The grant that's helping the Lemon Girls stay afloat. 5:39, welcome back. While struggling to survive, that's the reality for so many small businesses right here in San Antonio.
But with the new year finally here, one lemonade shop very optimistic. At the end of last year, the business, the Lemon Girls, received a grant through Human Rights Campaign and its partners. Well, the grant will give the North Zarzamora drink shop $10,000. And then after a year of ups and downs, the owners here say that they're applying for grants left and right.
She went on this applying streak, and then we didn't hear nothing, and then it just arrived, and we're like, thank you, universe.
At the end of 2024, we reported dozens of business closures here in San Antonio. Officials cite inflation and construction as the likely reasons why they're seeing these closures. Now that the holidays are officially over, though, here's how you can get rid of those Christmas trees. You can recycle them with Texas Disposal System. Drop them off at the location on your screen. Texas Disposal System is also accepting other organic decorations. It will recycle your stuff for free through January 31st.
All right, good information. Yeah, I know a lot of folks getting rid of those real Christmas trees.
That's why I keep the fake ones. But okay, we're looking at 544 right now. 55 degrees outside.
All right, researchers uncovering how screen time and sibling play can shape physical activity in kids under 3 years old. How some good habits early on can set the stage for lifelong health. 544, welcome back in your morning consumer headlines. Apple will pay a big price for eavesdropping. The tech giant will fork over $95 million to settle a lawsuit accusing Siri of spying on users. Some U.S. owners, of Apple-based products could receive up to $100.
Microsoft has released a new ergonomic keyboard. Okay, check it out. It's wireless and compact with a split contour design, a cushion palm rest, and a co-pilot button. Now the keys are light to the touch. It can connect to 3 devices through Bluetooth, and it costs you $120.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get that?
I'm not interested. So siblings or cousins who play outside might grow up to be healthier than those who spend their time inside playing video games or using those electronics.
That's right. A new study looked at kids from a walking age of 6 months old to 3 years old. And this research shows that researchers believe that kids under 3 years old who have siblings actually have an advantage.
Our very own Patty Santos joins us right now. Talk about what exactly this means. We all know going outside and playing is way funner than doing all that in my opinion.
Ergonomic keyboard.
But have you seen those really young kids at the markets?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
They just keep them occupied.
Exactly. Well, those researchers say having siblings is a good thing, and spending too much time inside is not. The new study also compared physical activity for an age group that had not been researched before.
We do not have federal guidelines on physical activity for kids younger than age 3. And so there's a need to learn more about physical activity behavior in very young kids and the association between physical activity and health in kids that age.
Researcher Russell Pate with the University of South Carolina says not a lot is known about the physical activity of kids, starting from when they learn to crawl. Studies done on older kids shows they are less mobile as they grow up.
Of course, that's one thing we did observe in this study was the kids that had greater exposure to screens, to devices, tended to show lower levels of physical activity than kids with less exposure.
So what about having siblings around? Pate says that seemed to be a positive influence on kids under 3.
If I was thinking about how to get one particular kid more physically active, the first thing I would do is get them to spend more time with other kids that are being physically active, because that social influence is really profound.
And Pate says it starts with parents. Kids under 3 should not have access to iPads or video games, and you can introduce good habits like playing sports or simply going on a walk.
One of my favorite things when I was a little kid, I would go outside and just get this bowl and pretend like I was making food. So I got a bunch of dirt and worms.
That helps you with your creativity, your imagination.
And it was much fun when cousins were around.
Yes.
So that works.
So I'm the older brother of 3 of us, and usually when it'd be like, hey, go outside, usually the younger brothers tend to follow. I don't know if it's like that with your kids or not, or your daughters.
Yeah, the oldest are the leaders in the imagination, right?
I love that. It's so pure. I love that. That's great tips right there, Patty. All right. It's time to get to the cold temperatures.
Let's do it.
Or the fall, whichever one.
Speaking of the kids, they may not want to go outside next week, but they still should. Get the big coat, get it ready. As we look outside for you right now, we've got foggy conditions. We continue to see that here on our live cam. And it's up high, so it looks a little bit worse than it is when we're talking about visibility. But the fog is building in a lot of spots. Temperatures in the 50s for the most part. So, cool, but just not winter-like cold, at least not yet. Visibility numbers continue to come down. Look at the airport now, down close to 0. Bernie, close to 0. Port SA at 3 miles, Stinson at 2 miles, Converse, Seguin, all areas dealing with fog this morning. So we'll continue to keep a close eye on this. It's going to be patchy. It's not going to be thick everywhere, but know that you're probably going to run into it if you got a morning commute this morning. 8 a.m., 52, noontime, 60. We're up around 67 this afternoon. Clouds will be stubborn, but if they can break up a little bit, we should get those temperatures into the upper 60s. Later today. I'd say probably more clouds and sun, though. And that'll be the case tomorrow, too. 70 on your Saturday, fog and drizzle early. It'll look a lot like today. And then Sunday, skies will clear midday. We'll get some dry air in here. Temperatures will warm up into the mid-70s. But then the front comes through, and by the evening hours, the temperatures fall off in a big way. It turns windy. And by Monday morning, it's going to be cold and blustery. I think we get wind chills in the 20s, by the way, Monday morning. So just be prepared. Don't get caught off guard. Light freezes, prepare for that too. And I think especially Tuesday morning, it's almost a given now that we'll be at least a couple degrees below freezing for several hours. We could also see some light freezes Wednesday and Thursday morning. The other thing to plan for, I think damp weather is becoming increasingly likely late in the week. I think there's still some timing questions here. And also some questions when it comes to the wintry mix. I must tell you, the last couple of computer model runs that we've had keeps temperatures above freezing, and we keep most of our precipitation liquid as we get into Thursday and Friday. Something to watch still, though. Things can still evolve and still change, but these are the morning lows. Tuesday, as I said, likely a freeze. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday mornings, I think still in question as to whether or not we get below that mark, but it'll be very, very close. There's our front on Sunday. There's the colder air coming in, and it's the system behind that that will bring in the precipitation. You'll see, though, on Thursday, most of it's in the form of rain, a cold rain here in San Antonio. And then as we get into Friday morning, a razor-thin margin as to whether or not we would see any flakes mixing in here. But as I said, the trend as of now is for this just to be a cold rain. We've got a 40% chance of rain now in the forecast on Thursday. Again, maybe a little bit of a mix in there as well. So 50 Monday, 48 Tuesday. It'll be cold next week, even during the afternoons. 38 Wednesday with more clouds. Right now, 40% chance of some, again, cold rain on Thursday. Maybe a few flakes mixing in there. But that, again, could change. Stick with us. We'll, again, have a better idea, I think, later in the weekend into early next week.
I cannot wait to figure out the actual details because you know how I am. Cold and wet should never mix. Unless it's fluffy snow.
Then you're okay with it.
I'll take that, but that soupy stuff, no, I can't.
Speaking of the fog that Justin was talking about a little bit earlier, Alex Gomez, he was headed out to Bernie, so let's go ahead and check in with our photojournalist in Drive Cam. Alex, how are things looking out there?
Yeah, and check out the conditions right here. Good morning, RJ. This is going to be I-10 westbound, just past Bernie. It's in the Bernie area, just past Johns Road. And there's not a lot of light poles out here. So you mix the fog, the dense fog, with the darkness. And we're easily going about 15 miles per hour below the speed limit. So we're only going about 60 on a 75 miles per hour stretch of I-10. So that's what's slowing us down this morning because the visibility is low. Just keep that in mind as you head out this morning, RJ.
Thank you very much for that, Alex. Obviously a good idea to reduce your speeds getting out in that fog.
Oh, for sure. We're looking at 5:52 right now, 55 degrees outside. Video games heading your way in the new year include one based on The Hobbit and a new Assassin's Creed adventure. We'll get a first look at what the gamer in your life will soon be playing.
Logo.
Head & Shoulders is launching something huge.
A sleek bottle.
The bare minimum. Anti-dandruff shampoo made with only 9 ingredients, no sulfate, silicones, or dyes, and packaged with 45% less plastic, giving you outstanding dandruff protection and leaving hair beautiful and moisturized.
Models.
Major dandruff protection, minimal ingredients. Job done. Head & Shoulders Bare.
Some like them toasted. Eat them how you like them.
Pop-Tart. Crazy!
That's $225 for the night.
Not bad.
$155 for the night.
How?
It's easy when you know where to look.
Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of sites, so you can save up to 40%. Hotel Trivago.
We are the shadows
that serve the light.
Valentine's Day marks the release of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Set in feudal Japan, the adventure will be playable on PC, Macs with Apple Silicon, Xbox, and PlayStation 5 consoles.
There are many tales of Middle-earth.
Weta Workshop, the company that contributed to the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit films, brings its magic to the video game realm with Tales of the Shire. The cozy game is set to release March 25th for PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and Xbox.
I'm more concerned with the 6-foot cat man who's got claws that can cut through vibranium alloy.
Among other big games expected to release in 2025 are Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra, Nintendo's Metroid Prime 4 Beyond.
This is one hell of a ship you got here. Courtesy of the UCA, I'm guessing.
and Death Stranding 2 on the beach, starring a performance by The Walking Dead's Norman Reedus. Leveling up in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
You know, they should make like a Super Mario Brother version of like a serious kind of show.
Yeah.
Can you picture that?
I can see it. That little hobby, he will not go away. Okay, up next at 6 o'clock, researchers have uncovered how screen time and sibling play can shape physical activity for kids. What the number of kids you have has to do with their health.
And temperatures are expected to drop soon, but we got how a local organization is preparing to help those in need to stay warm.